This is not clickbait. This is my new reality, and I wanted to do a full video on this for those of you who have followed me a long time. Wanted to talk a bit about my decision to leave my 16-year position at the hospital. This was a very hard decision to make. This was something I have been thinking about for a very long time. And I always wondered if I would be sitting here one day making one of these videos. Timing is unique, and I had to make a decision that was best for me and my timing. Let me back up a bit and just give you all a little bit of a timeline here. I feel a lot of people are always very confused what I do for a living and what I've done for a living. I became a registered dietitian in 2005. That is what many of you know me as. That is how I introduce myself. That is what I tell people when they ask what I do for a living. That is something I'm very proud of. Being a registered dietitian, it is what makes me happy. It's what I'm very passionate about. Over my career, I began working at a New York State psychiatric hospital roughly the week after I graduated from my master's degree, so 2007, and I started there as a clinical dietitian working with geriatrics with mental illness, and I did that for about 5 to 6 years until the opportunity came for me to move up within the department and become an administrator of the entire department. I was no longer a clinical dietitian. I ran the whole nutrition services department. Did that for about 5 years and just really didn't love it, quite honestly, being a very new manager and working with some very challenging employees and just kind of feeling like a lot of what I was doing was very cyclical and repetitive. I wasn't feeling fulfilled in that role. I started looking for jobs outside of the hospital at that point in my life, and timing just so happened that there was an opening in our business office, which was a promotion for me. So I moved from that role into what my last position was, which was a business officer. Or if you're kind of, what is that? It's more like CFO, Chief Financial Officer, is kind of the private sector type name. And I did that for roughly 7 years. As I've been in this job, as I've been in management, I should say, I've been really unhappy and uncertain of my life path. It's something I've been so conflicted with, however, because when it comes down to paper and putting it on a resume, or even to the people that I work with at the hospital, it looks very impressive what I've done. I've received 2 promotions, and the title that I was currently in was pretty much as high up as you could go until you become a director, which my supervisor was prepping me for and priming me for eventually taking over his position as a director at the hospital. In addition to all that, I've been managing social media for a long time. Started on YouTube over 10 years ago and never aspired, and still am not aspiring for YouTube to be all I do. Not that there's anything wrong with that. So many people are so successful with it. But to me, I wasn't going to leave my job to just pursue YouTube. The older I've gotten, the more things have become a bit more clear to me. Whereas in my younger years, I was kind of uncertain what I was looking for. I just, honestly, some people just know. And for me, I would kind of tell people I'm still trying to figure out what I want to be when I grow up. That was sometimes my response. And I turned 39 this past October and made a promise to myself before I enter a new decade of my life that I was going to really spend this year figuring my shit out, figuring out what it is I need to do, and making decisions and making moves that really lead me to what I feel more fulfilled doing and what I feel more happy doing. At that time, I felt it was either going to be one or two things. I was either going to part ways with the hospital and figure out from there, or I was going to fully embrace working at the hospital. And when other people would ask me, "Hey, Kara, how's your job going?" instead of sighing and cringing and not wanting to answer that question and going, fine, can we talk about something else, and quickly pivoting. I never wanted to talk about myself or my job. If I'm going to stay at the hospital, I'm not going to be that person anymore. I'm going to fully give everything to loving it and not feeling upset about it. I don't know if upset's the right word, but I think what really it trickled down to when people would ask me that question is ultimately, if someone was to say, Kara, are you happy in your job? I would have said no. No. God's honest truth, no. Very good at my job, felt very loyal to the hospital, but I've been struggling with not being happy there for a long time. And part of that has just been feeling that I'm missing out on what I'm here to do, what I am put on this world to do. And I am a caretaker. And I think that's a big reason why I got into healthcare and into the field of dietetics, was it allowed me to, number one, do something I've been passionate about since a young age. I started loving fitness and nutrition when I was in high school. Even before then, I was just very enthralled in it all and very curious. And it really, to me at that time in my life, felt like something that I could do and I could do very well. And I felt very confident about that. And really a bulk of my career in terms of my corporate position has not been being a dietitian, it's been being a manager. And quite honestly, being a manager is fucking exhausting. I'm exhausted. And in particular, this past 6 to 7 months, the healthcare burnout's real, and it did really help me see things in a better perspective, to look at what I think the rest of my career could look like and should look like. I know this decision may not be a surprise to many of you, especially if you follow me on Instagram and see some of like the quotes and memes and things I've been posting. This is something I have been toying with probably since year 2 after I got into the business office. So I've been really truly thinking about it for the past 5 years of my life. So this was not a quick decision. This was not an easy decision for me. I've seen a lot of people who may think this isn't a big deal, and most people work multiple jobs in all their lifetimes. But for me, this was a job that I was somewhat invested in, especially being a New York State employee. Just a side note, it is a little different in terms of your years of service there and receiving a pension. So there are some downsides to me leaving the facility in terms of that, but the risk versus benefit for me, it all panned out the way I needed it to. So let me fast forward. Been a decision I've been toying with for a long time. Turned 39, I decide this is going to be the year of me. This is going to be the year of me not just complaining about things, not just sitting here stewing, knowing I'm unhappy with things. This is the year I'm going to decide what my plot looks like. I'm going to dictate what the story of Kara Corey looks like for 2023. So here we are. It's already May. It is May. It is 5 months. We're practically halfway over 2023. And some travel opportunities came my way. Many of you know I was in LA for a couple weeks. And I think a lot of people could think I'm leaving my job because of Buff Bunny Collection or because of what I was out in LA doing. And it's actually not related to that at all. I don't want to say there isn't any influence there, because honestly, the 2 weeks I spent in LA, and anytime I have taken a trip, quite honestly, especially when it comes to being around other creatives and content creators and entrepreneurs that I just see doing the damn thing, I'm so envious, and I'm always so curious and have so many questions for them, because I look at people like that for so long and think, why can't I do that? Why am I not doing that? I've seen so many dietitians who are doing exactly what I wish I could be doing. Meanwhile, there's been something that's been holding me back from it. So those were the questions that I knew I had to really sort through for myself this year and be true to myself. With going to LA, it gave me 2 full weeks of being away from the hospital. It gave me 2 full weeks of any outside influence. Quite honestly, Jason's wanted me to quit my job for like years now. He always wanted me to do my own thing. It just fell in his lap quicker. But he's always really wanted me to do my own thing. He's always felt like I was destined for something more, and kind of wished I would see myself in the eyes that he sees me. And it's taken me a long time to get to the point to have the confidence to feel and know I can be successful on my own, and to feel that I wanted to put my fate, my destiny in my own hands, and be the person who's responsible for that for me, I've done a lot of very safe things, in particular with my career. I've kept things very safe and not really taken a ton of risks. I just have gotten to a point, especially after going to LA and having that time to just get away and clear my head and be away from reality long enough to really remember who I am, if that makes sense. For any of you that work a full-time job, it sometimes takes a couple weeks to really get back to who you are. My job sucks me in very quickly, had sucked me in very quickly, where the second you come back in the door, people need things from you. You have to take care of things. And it was just so draining for me to be in that environment. I was not allowed to really excel in any other areas of my life. I didn't feel like I could ever give enough to anything else because my life was giving so much to the hospital. I apologize if this is a bit all over the place. I didn't prepare anything. These are just the thoughts that I have in my head. So along with just feeling like so much of my life is being given to the hospital, priorities. The older you get, the more priorities shift, or you see things in a different light. And especially after COVID, seeing the shift with healthcare, and then also just seeing the shift with the world that we live in, and, you know, being able to enjoy time with the people you love. I personally feel like nothing is more important than that. Nothing is more important than being able to spend time with my family, and also nothing's more important than taking care of me. I don't care if that sounds selfish. Nothing's more important than my health and taking care of myself and the people I love. And working the job I've been working, I feel like that's flip-flopped. And so much so that even around Christmas time, my brother was coming up, my sister was going to go see my parents, and they wanted to plan this Christmas trip where we were all together. And I said no at first. I said, there's no way I can. I have people out on medical leave. I am the department head. I have to take care of things. I have to be here doing this. And that didn't sit well with me. So I was always this conflicted person between putting my family first versus being a good department head and putting my job first. And which one is it? Which one comes first? And so I had said no at first. And then it was a couple days before the trip was going to happen. And my sister said to me, gosh, Carrie, can't you just, not to make you feel bad, but can you just call in sick? It's not going to be the same without you. And you know, the more I sat with that and thought, you know, I'm not going to call in sick because I'm not that kind of person, but I also don't want to look back 2 months from now and, you know, no one's guaranteed any day on this earth. If something were to happen to one of my family members and I missed out on this opportunity because of staffing in my department, I would have to live with that the rest of my life. Yeah, I took the time off, went with my family. That was just one example that helped shift my perspective this year. In addition, I have talked about Jason's health issues and his diagnosis with Lyme disease and how that's impacted him. And it goes up and down, you guys. You can't tell by the way he looks, but he always keeps it together and he always hustles and he always grinds. But majority of the time, he does not feel well. And I want to be a better wife to him and I want to be able to support him. And so all these things are just yelling at me this past year, like, these are supposed to be your priorities, yet you keep going to this freaking job Monday through Friday, giving away 50 plus hours of your life. So go to LA. I said to Jason, I don't know how I'm going to go back to work after this trip. I don't know how I'm going to go back to regular life. And he's like, yeah, Kara, I've heard you say this after every trip you go on, where you're just re-energized, you're different, you're remotivated, and then you're kind of right back into the same old grind of what you normally are. I said, no, this time's different. I just need to wait until it feels right for me. And I kid you not, it's true. And my mom told me this about 6 months ago when I was home. She had said no one's ever tried to talk me out of this. It's almost like everyone has seen the potential I could have except for me. My mom said, Kara, you'll know when the time is right for you in your gut, you'll know. So that's what I've been waiting for. And I kind of wondered, like, is my gut ever going to tell me what the hell to do here? Because I'm a Libra and I can go either way on a lot of shit. I'm just like very like, whatever, go with the flow on things. But I kid you not, I walked up to work that day and it in my head, it didn't feel right. And I said, okay, tell yourself, like, list off some of the things you love about your job. What do you love doing? I love a lot of people I work with, so don't take that out of context. I know people at work watch me. But what do you love about your job duties as the business officer? Let's list them off. And I just kept walking, and I couldn't think of one thing within my job duties that I love doing, all right? And I know for some people, a job is a job. So that was my other conflict. Maybe I'm just one of those people where a job is just supposed to be a job. Not everyone's meant to be an entrepreneur. You know, I don't mind having a boss over me. I like structure. I like being a good employee. Maybe I'm just one of those people, but it didn't sit well with me. It didn't sit well with me. And I went into work, a fire drill went off. All of a sudden, it was being bombarded with all the things that happened when I was off. And I was just sitting there thinking, no, I don't care about any of this. This isn't it for me anymore. I am missing out on things, and opportunities can pass you by. I was very lucky I even got 2 weeks off to go to LA. Quite honestly, it was very last minute. I did have a lot of accruals and time off I could take, but it's also not really well received when you take a bunch of time off, all right? So for whatever reason that is, you're kind of made to feel bad for taking a lot of time off and doing things in your personal life. So that was another conflict I was having. And I knew in that moment, you guys, I knew my heart started beating, and I knew I had to do it. I had to just jump at the chance to follow my gut, my heart, and what my body was telling me, which is you can do more for yourself outside of here. And you have to do this, Kara, and you have to do it now. So I went back to work that day, and I told my boss and resigned that day. I gave a 4 weeks notice. So when you're watching this video, I am officially done at the hospital, and I wanted to wait to make this video until I was officially done, just because I wanted to make sure I moved through all the emotions of everything. And quite honestly, I was wondering, I've got 4 weeks here to feel regret, remorse, nerves, all those things. And all I felt was at peace. I felt a weight lifted off my shoulders, and I have known I'm making the right decision. I know that was maybe a little long-winded for how I got to where I am, but I guess as someone who would have had 16 years in at this job next week, I felt it was important to give some of the back and forth in my mind that's been going on, because it was such a big decision for me. And I know for some people it maybe isn't that big of a deal, but it was a really big decision for me. I worked with a lot of amazing people. I felt very valued in my job. I felt very well respected, and that was apparent to me as people learned I was leaving. It was very touching, the things that people would tell me with how I helped them, or their nerves about me leaving and things like that. So I will very much miss the camaraderie of so many of the good people I really worked with. But what's next for me and what my plan is, so many people have asked, especially because I came home from LA and quit. Everyone's like, you quit for LA. I didn't quit for LA. That's totally separate. And I can't tell you what LA was. I, in my heart, feel that I made all these choices. I took these promotions. They were pay increases. A promotion is usually a good thing, right? But at the end of the day, I look back at my career, and I got further and further away from what makes me happy and what fulfills me. And that is being a registered dietitian. That is educating people. That is helping people. It's helping people change their lives. It's helping people improve their relationship with food. It's helping women understand that you can be fit and strong and not be bulky and manly. So those are all my passions, and those have continued to be the things that I've wanted to prioritize and have struggled to be able to. I can't do it all. I can't do social media, my full-time job, and have a full-time roster of clients and build a business outside of my main job. It's just not possible. So something had to give. And a big thing for me was, I need to wait to quit until I have it all figured out. That was the other lie I kept telling myself. You have to have the full-on plan, Kara. You need it in place. You can't just quit. You can't just walk away. And bless Jason's soul, I have such an amazing, supportive husband. I wish all of you could have a Jason in your life. He has been telling me, Kara, you don't need to have it all figured out, and you don't need to hustle the day you quit either. Take the time you need to recharge, to get creative, to figure it out. We are financially in a good spot where we're able to do this. I'm not saying we're flying in the money. What I'm saying is we've been smart. We've lived well below our means so that it could afford me this opportunity to not have to rush and panic. So as I sit here right now, I don't have it all figured out. My current plan is to truly recharge. When you're seeing this video, I think it'll be Monday or Tuesday, and it'll be my first week not working for the hospital. And my goal is just to first clear out the clutter in my mind and in my home. So things I've been neglecting as an adult due to time constraints, and just slowing down and being able to organize and clean things out and spend more time with my family and go from there. And for me personally, it's getting back to the roots of being a registered dietitian. It's being able to lean into that more and build my brand. So if that excites you and you're happy to hear that, I know my YouTube content has been, I've been here. I've had sometimes once a week uploads, sometimes I've missed a week, but I really am planning on being much more consistent here, in particular with my nutrition content here and on Instagram, now that I will have the time, and not only have the time, but I won't have the drain that I had, just the soul drain from my main job, where I couldn't even think of what to put out for content because I was just so drained. I don't know how else to say it. All creativity out the door, just too tired to bother. Monday through Friday would be an absolute bust of me coming home, taking care of the dogs, eating dinner, sitting on the couch, going to bed. And for me, I couldn't accept that was going to be the rest of my life for the rest of my life. I refuse to accept that that's the path I'm meant to live. And for me, I have to do more. I have to make more of an impact. It's important to me. I feel like that is what I was here to do. So I'm really excited for this journey. I hope you all are too. And I know many of you respect the hustle I've led with all the things and always asking me how I balance it all. And I don't balance it all. That's the truth. So I will now have a new balancing act in front of me, navigating, still doing social media, but also wanting to build my own business and my practice of being a registered dietitian. So yeah, so that's a lot. I have to say, I'm the happiest I've ever been. And I think just knowing that I made this decision finally, that's been lurking over me for such a long time, I feel so much better that I finally made the decision. And I'm also very eager to get back to my roots and to refresh my skills and to better assist more people. I also just want to say, if you're watching this video and you're someone who maybe has had some of the similar struggles as I have, one of the biggest things I can tell you for me, I kept seeing other people take their leap, take their journey, and internalize why I wasn't doing the same thing. And it's okay to look at others and see what they're doing, but honestly know that what's meant to be for you will happen in your time, in your own path, your own timeline. And for me, I kept worrying, like, maybe I'm too old to make a career change, like maybe I'm too old to pivot. And that is such a lie I was trying to tell myself. You're never too old to chase your dreams, and it'll happen for you if it's meant to, when you're ready for it to happen. I am now a firm believer in that, going through it myself. Your gut, your heart, the good people around you will lead you to the right decision. So know that, and don't compare your situation to mine. We're all very different. But yeah, I'm just really excited for where this next journey is going to take me. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the YouTube channel here. Follow me over on Instagram. I'm gonna have so much more content for you. And if you made it through this full video, I appreciate you all so much. If you've gone through something similar and don't mind sharing with me how your transition went, down in the comments, I would love to hear it. In addition, any content that you're really excited to get from me now, I would also be eager to take that feedback down in the comments as well. So like I said, I'm going to kind of cruise for a few weeks. I've got a couple things planned with just some travels. I got a girls trip at the end of the month. So I will definitely keep you all updated on where this next journey takes me. And if you want me to do more on the YouTube end of things with sharing that as well, let me know. But yeah, that's it, guys. That's the announcement. That's the news. I know some of you maybe guessed it, but I had to share it here. So thank you all for your love and support. Honestly, when I hadn't announced it yet, too many of you reached out and were so kind and encouraging and supportive, shared your own stories, kind of knew what was going on. Many of you probably knew I was not super happy in my job. I think it probably wouldn't take more than a monkey to figure it out. Like it was pretty evident, right, that it wasn't fulfilling me and it was draining me. So I'm very happy now. So hopefully you guys are happy for me. I will end it here because I know I've rambled long enough, but thank you all so much for the support. And if you do want to support me, it'll mean that much more to utilize my affiliate links in the meantime while I figure my shit out. Code Kara with Buff Bunny Collection, of course, helps. And yeah, that's it, guys. I am looking forward to spending more time with you here on the YouTube, bringing back some YouTube Live, some dietitian Q&As, and hopefully working with more of you one-on-one. So thank you all for your love and support. That's it for real this time. Peace.